There are places you visit, buildings you see, that just stop you in your tracks. They don't just stand there, they command your attention. I'm talking about the magnificent old-world structures scattered across our globe. Think of the grand state capitals, the ornate city halls, and the towering cathedrals that dominate skylines from Chicago to St. Petersburg. These aren't just buildings, they are architectural titans. Their scale is breathtaking, their beauty is intricate, and their construction is so precise it feels almost impossible. Every column, every arch, every gilded dome seems to whisper a story of a time when beauty and grandeur were the language of architecture, a time we seem to have forgotten. Look closely at these structures. You'll notice they share a common design language, a kind of global architectural signature. They are built with massive stone blocks, feature soaring columns, and are adorned with sculptures that seem to defy gravity. They possess a level of artistry and engineering that we struggle to replicate even today with all our advanced technology. These buildings were clearly made to last for millennia, not just decades. They feel less like human constructions and more like permanent fixtures of the landscape itself, as if they grew right out of the earth, destined to watch empires rise and fall around them. It's a humbling experience to stand in their shadow. Now let's consider the official story we're told about these places. We're taught they were erected in the 18th or 19th centuries by pioneers and settlers. But when you look at the photographs from that era, you see something curious. You see these colossal, perfectly formed buildings, yet the people standing next to them look like they just arrived. They are often depicted with simple, horse-drawn carts and basic tools. It creates a stark and puzzling contrast. Magnificent palace-like structures surrounded by what looks like a fledgling, almost primitive society. The math just doesn't seem to add up. The mystery deepens when you realize this phenomenon isn't isolated to one city or country. It's a global pattern. From the Americas to Europe, Asia to Australia, you find these same incredible buildings. They all share this classical, almost Greco-Roman style, regardless of the local culture or technological level of the time they were supposedly built. It's as if a single advanced civilization stamped its architectural footprint across the entire planet. This uniformity begs a powerful question. Who were the real master builders of this old world, and what is the real story behind their incredible, enduring legacy? Let's dive deeper into this historical mismatch. The narrative we are given paints a picture of rugged homesteaders and settlers building our great cities from the ground up. We see images of them in simple wooden shacks, living tough lives on the frontier. They were battling the elements, clearing land, and just trying to survive. Their primary building material was wood, and their homes were practical, small, and functional. They were focused on survival, not on erecting monumental stone palaces that would rival those of ancient Rome. It was a time of grit and determination, where every nail and plank was hard-won. Now place that image alongside a state capitol building from the same period. These structures are architectural behemoths, crafted from tons of quarried stone, featuring impossibly high ceilings, and decorated with intricate carvings. We are asked to believe that the same people living in log cabins, using handsaws and chisels, were also capable of quarrying, transporting, and lifting multi-ton stone blocks hundreds of feet into the air. They would have needed massive cranes, advanced surveying equipment, and an army of specialized, highly skilled masons. Where did this incredible workforce and technology suddenly come from, only to seemingly vanish afterward? The sheer logistics are mind-boggling. Imagine trying to build a structure like the Philadelphia City Hall with just horse-drawn wagons and simple hand tools. The project would have taken centuries and required resources far beyond what any fledgling colony could muster. Yet the history books tell us these grand edifices were completed in just a few years. It's a timeline that defies logic and the known technological capabilities of the era. The disconnect between the supposed builders and the buildings themselves is a chasm that official explanations struggle to cross. It suggests a piece of the story is glaringly absent. This brings us to a compelling idea. What if these settlers didn't build these structures from scratch? What if they found them? This theory posits that the pioneers arrived to find these magnificent and perhaps partially ruined buildings already standing. They were relics of a forgotten, more advanced age. The settlers, being practical, would have moved in, cleaned them up, and repurposed them for their own needs, as government offices, banks, or universities. This would explain the stark contrast in technological levels and why the timeline seems so impossibly compressed. They weren't the builders, they were the inheritors. The plot thickens when we examine the strange photographic evidence from the 1800s. We have countless images showing these breathtaking buildings, fully completed, yet surrounded by nothing but mud. There are no paved roads, no established infrastructure, no signs of a bustling construction site. It looks as if the city sprang up overnight and the world around it hadn't caught up yet. The photos show lone structures sitting in a sea of mire, with horse-drawn carts struggling through the muck. It's an eerie and illogical scene. Why build such a masterpiece and then neglect to even create a proper road to get to it? This observation has given rise to the mud flood theory. This idea suggests that a massive cataclysm, a deluge of mud and soil, swept across the globe at some point in the not-too-distant past. This event would have buried the lower levels of these ancient cities, hiding their true foundations and scale. What we see today as the ground floor might actually be the second, third, or even fourth story of a much larger structure. This catastrophe would have wiped the slate clean, destroying the civilization that built these wonders and leaving only their tallest structures behind, peeking out from the new ground level. The evidence for such an event is surprisingly common if you know where to look. All over the world, we find buildings with windows and doors that are inexplicably buried several feet below the modern street level. Excavations often reveal grand archways and ornate entryways leading to nowhere but solid earth. We call them basements, but they have the features of a ground floor. Why would anyone build a beautiful window and then immediately bury it? The mud flood theory provides a single, elegant explanation for this bizarre and widespread architectural feature. These weren't basements. They were the original ground floors of a world before the mud. This is where secretive groups like the Freemasons enter the narrative. Historical records often credit them with founding or laying the cornerstones for these buildings long after they were clearly built. The theory suggests these groups were part of a coordinated effort to claim these structures and rewrite their history. They didn't build them, they discovered and restored them, creating a new narrative to conceal the existence of the previous civilization. They became the custodians of the old world's secrets, presenting a simplified history that placed them as the original architects, effectively erasing the memory of the true builders. If a great cataclysm or mud flood did occur, the obvious question is, when did it happen? Some researchers point to the early 19th century, a period filled with unexplained events like the year without a summer in 1816, caused by a massive volcanic eruption. Could this have been part of a larger global event? Others suggest it may have happened even earlier. This idea of a historical reset proposes that our timeline has been interrupted. A technologically advanced civilization, perhaps the Tartarian Empire shown on old maps, was wiped out, and history as we know it was restarted, with the survivors left to pick up the pieces among the ruins of a forgotten world. This line of questioning forces us to challenge the official history we've been taught since childhood. The standard narrative is linear and progressive. Humanity started in caves and slowly advanced to where we are today. But what if history is cyclical? What if advanced civilizations have risen and fallen multiple times, their stories deliberately erased or distorted by those who came after? The existence of these out-of-place buildings suggests that our understanding of the past is, at best, incomplete and at worst, intentionally misleading. We are told one story, but the stones themselves seem to be telling a very different one. The powerful implications are hard to ignore. If this theory holds any truth, it means that important knowledge about our past, our technology, and perhaps even our potential as a species is being actively hidden from us. The erasure of a previous global civilization would be the greatest cover-up in human history. It would mean that we are a species with amnesia, living in the shadows of giants, unaware of our own inheritance. The motivation for such a deception could be control. By controlling the past, you control the present and the future. It's a sobering thought that challenges the very foundation of our modern world. The mystery of the Tartarian civilization is a rabbit hole worth exploring. It's a call to look at the world around you with fresh eyes, to question the narratives you've been handed, and to do your own research. Don't just accept the easy answers. Look at the old buildings in your own town. Notice the buried windows. Scrutinize the old photographs. The clues are everywhere, hiding in plain sight. The truth is out there, etched into the stone and buried beneath the mud. We just have to be curious enough and brave enough to go on the expedition and uncover it for ourselves. Keep searching.